How's it going, everyone? And as always, welcome back to Continues to Tick. Friends, question. Do you navigate this life with purpose, or do you allow life to move you where it takes you? It's critical to distinguish a difference here. With the former, you believe you are in control. You learn to take control, take advantage of your time and the opportunity given to you at hand, which is this life. You set long-term goals and you achieve them. You set more long-term goals, and you achieve them too. You recognize time passes, and you utilize it to the fullest by planning ahead. You have a set value of expectations for yourself, and you desire to obtain them before this life is over. With the latter, you're allowing life to take you where it may. You wake up and primarily think of the present day. You are the true advocate for living in the moment. You don't set long-term goals so much, but often not due to a lack of ability, but a lack of thinking about it. You recognize time passes, but it doesn't just move you, and you utilize it just differently. You don't so much set expectations of yourself, but accept what is given and provided along the way. You live life. Which camp are you in? And if you had to guess, friends, which camp am I in? Yes, you guessed it, the former. I'm a future thinker to the fullest and believer that I navigate this life with my doings or lack of doings. I also believe this is the mindset most conducive to building the life of your dreams or your heart's desires. I'm biased in that way, mainly because it has and continues to work for me. But it's also easy to get lost in this headspace of always planning for the future. So at the same time, despite my talking up of this mindset, it is also my biggest weakness, just to humbly be honest with you all. So towards the end of this segment, I'll also explain the importance of balancing it, like all things, in this life, and how I do that. But friends, what I'm trying to get at, through that introduction, is to talk up the point of what has worked for me, which is a concept that to reach levels of success in this life requires trying to live this life with the absolute highest level of mental clarity. Mental clarity and just clarity in general allows you the opportunity to navigate this life in the most efficient way. What makes me actually a future thinker is this level of clarity. Clarity in my vision, my goals, my dreams, my wants, my desires, what I want to accomplish in this life before I go. I think of all these things. I've created a life map, if you will, that I used to follow and lead my way on a monthly basis, yearly basis, and even my day-to-day. It includes multiple destinations, an overall direction, which side stops along the way to take and appreciate. It tells me when the patch of road will be slow and when I can efficiently move through traffic. And it also provides me an ETA. As with all maps, this one also includes forks in the roads, meaning I have to make permanent decisions that are tough along the way. Sometimes we just can't go back and choose again. But this is what you need to build for yourself to obtain the clarity that is needed to succeed. Often from my experience, people don't not choose to think of the future because of a lack of clarity, and with it ideas of how to get where they want to go. They often do know what they desire and want, but getting to it is usually the tricky part. It's easier to not move and just want than to want and figure out exactly how to get there. And then this lack of clarity stresses them out to even think of starting or seeing themselves into the future. But really, it's a simple formula, and the map for me is similar to the one for you. It just needs to be created initially, and then you add detail, a little bit more detail, and then some more detail to it. I want to create a video on this one day, step by step, how I did it. But in summary, it's really simple and quite fun to create. Let me just quickly give you an example of what I mean. For me, I started with a faraway target. So I started back in high school with a large goal. I wanted to become a registered nurse as a career profession to survive in this life and make money. This was my long-term goal. I knew I needed to go to college, so I signed up for a community college. I then knew I needed certain classes for my nursing major, so I specifically took those. I then knew I needed to get good grades in those classes, so I made sure to prioritize my studies. I repeated these couple steps here over and over until I was done with my prerequisite classes. And once prerequisite classes were completed, I then knew I needed to apply for nursing school itself, but I also wanted to get a bachelor's degree. So I planned to transfer from this community college to a 4-year university that had nursing programs. So I only applied to those. When I started to apply, I saw I needed to do things to make me more competitive. So I took a Spanish class. After the first time applying didn't get me in, and also retook and then retook my TEAS test to get a better and better score. I then reapplied to nursing school, once again with my better effort, and I finally got into a nursing program. It was at that time I realized that by simply being in my nursing program, everything from there was set and defined for me for the next 2.5 years, and that all I had to do at that point was try, show up, and pass each class. I eventually graduated, and I studied for my RN license exam, and I passed, and I became a registered nurse. Now I work as a prison nurse for the California State Prison System. Here I am now. That was my map for the goal. But as you can see through all those steps, wrapped up, in summary, is clarity. But my point with this long drawn out detailed example, friends, is that life happens in the same way. Long-term goals, no matter which ones, happen in this same way. The formula is the same. You can switch it to buying a house, to building a dividend portfolio, to being a millionaire, to finding a partner. You just need to choose a large goal and work backwards to find which is your destination, and then backtrack from there, detailing this map with side stops, an ETA, an overall direction. This is how you find and create clarity. Clarity you must have to complete and target these goals in your life. Without clarity, you won't be able to shape the life of your choosing, but rather one you just accept. And for me, I'm not accepting a life that isn't of my choosing without trying first for it. This is my life, and I need it to look how I desired and dreamed it to be. We only get one shot, and time is way too finite, friends, to live any other way. But, as I mentioned earlier, the how thinking this way was also my biggest weakness. It is to this day, which can be hard to understand, as how can such a useful tool that continually helps me hit my targets over and over and over again be my weakness? Well, it's because this life isn't only about me. If this life were only about me and myself, it'd be simple. And that if I chose to live this life alone, for myself only, that would be my only focus. Less complicated, really. But the truth is, I want to have relationships with people. I want to have a partner I share moments with. And that's when things get complicated. Because it's no longer just about you. And I believe life is most fulfilling lived in this way. But it's interesting how I managed to reel back my future mind and my greatest weakness. And the biggest help to this is simply with me being with a partner who more so lives for the present day. My partner helps me stay grounded. And the great thing about it is she wants to be more future oriented. As I know, I need to be more present day oriented. So we help each other grow. But growth is a choice. You can't be with someone who is different but doesn't want to change. That simply won't work. So because of that, I'm not asking you to find an opposite attracts partner. There, that is my disclaimer. Enter your relationship at your own risk. But on a serious note, life is a balance, a pool if you will. You are supposed to have moments that make you feel uncomfortable. I personally call it growth, because just as I grew to recognize the importance of the future, I need to also prioritize today. And that's when I came up with the saying that planning for tomorrow while simultaneously living for today is life's biggest conundrum, because there really is no correct answer there. Balance is the only answer, but just like most things, reaching equilibrium may never be possible, although it should still be strived for. I want to end this week's segment with this, friends. This life is yours to grab. Decide and mold. You are in control. Search for and create your clarity. This life and how it unfolds can be your choosing. You just first need to see it this way. We all come into this life in the same way, with the painter's brush and a blank canvas. What beautiful things can we create, really? Look around you. We are capable of so much. Get to it, minimize mistakes, and stay engaged. And just as we want to grow in the mind, the body, the soul, money is another one of them. It's another one of the main pillars that I continue to seek growth in. But I do hope, at least at this point in time, your mood isn't attached to your portfolio, because it hasn't been pretty. And as you will see here soon, mine also hasn't been pretty. But hopefully through that, we can relate and connect. So here we are now, dipping way below 60,000 at $55,096.44 in the Jesse's cash flow portfolio, with a negative loss of the portfolio of 6.01%, which equates to a negative $1,790.85 loss. And last week, we were just hanging on to the green by the thread of our dividends. But now our market gain, or should I say, our market loss, has surpassed that, and the force was too strong. So now we are officially in the red. And honestly, friends, I really can't remember the last time my actual portfolio was actually in the red. Even when the markets were down, I was still hanging on by the thread of my all-time earned dividends. But now it's official. It is red, and the markets haven't been pretty. Here's this last week's performance, down 3.78%, minus $2,165. Thank you, Birdie. And here's our last month's performance, down 10.13%, minus $6,177.29. For the last year's performance, we're down 11.67%, which equates to a loss of $5,764.26. But because we are dividend investors, let's look at the one positive note that continues every single week, and that's getting paid dividends. So here we are starting on September 29th, getting paid by Nvidia, 47 cents, and then getting paid by DLR on the very next day of $14.98, and then also getting paid by PepsiCo, $8.55. And if you haven't been here for a while, I guess I'd say for my last 2 videos now, maybe the last 3, I did switch up my strategy a little bit. Before, I would deposit $500 into this portfolio every single week, and now I switched it to $100. But that is because I'm also trying to save up for a house. So the $400 extra that was going into the portfolio every week is now going into a savings account. And apart from the $100 deposit, here we are with the funnel, getting a snowball of $7.05 for this past week. And so that's going to be it for this week's video, friends. Continue to search and create your clarity, especially in rough times like right now. The markets aren't pretty, but regardless of what's going on at the surface, underneath all of this, we should continue to always be trying to obtain our underlying goals. Our life is always more than finances. There's so many areas of growth that we can continue to grow in. So continue to try to create the best version of yourself in all areas, and continue to work on trying to find that clarity that is needed in order to do so. We've made it through 7 days, and because of that, we have a high chance of making it through another 7. And as always, I will see you then, and as always, take care.